We have now reached the citizens' participation time regarding other agenda items, school operations, or programs. I am going to repeat the information that I shared earlier, so please bear with me. Lexington County School District One's Board of Trustees solicits the advice and counsel of its citizens. To encourage this participation, the board provides a citizens' participation period during board meetings. In order to speak, you must be the parent or legal guardian of a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school, a taxpayer residing in the Lexington District 1 attendance area, an employee of the district, or a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school. You may comment on agenda items, school operations, policies, programs, or other matters. You may not speak about specific individuals, whether students or staff. We want to remind you that this meeting is being live streamed and that the recording of this meeting will be part of the public record in perpetuity. We want to give everyone who came tonight an opportunity to speak, and in order to do that, I will call on each speaker by name and ask you to approach the lectern at the back of the room. The board will not reply to your remarks nor take any action during the board meeting in response to your comments or questions. You may address the board for up to 3 minutes. Please do not clap or make any comments either while an individual speaks or after he or she finishes. As you came in tonight, you received a card to fill out to indicate you wanted to speak. The card asks for your name, address, and other information. I will only read out your name, the town you reside in, and the name of the schools your children attend when it is your turn to speak. If you are uncomfortable addressing the board in person, you may reach out to us by mail, telephone, email, text, however you might want to try to reach us. We're pretty accessible, and our contact information is available on the Lexington One website. We welcome all messages. All right. And if you have not filled out a card, Ms. McPhail and Ms. Hill in the back could give you one. First, we have Ms. Debbie Heim. Ms. Heim would like to address the board on several topics, and she has a student that attends Lexington High School.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, board. I don't know where Mr. Anderson is. We missed him last time, too. I hope he's on vacation or something. And congratulations to all the chiefs and other people who are retiring this year. That's very exciting for them and other administrators and teachers to close out this year. I understand this is their very last meeting like this. I just want to start briefly. Before February, I had never been to a board meeting before in my life in any district which my children have ever attended. I've never been a member of the PTA. In fact, last year, I didn't even know who my son's principal was. I know it's a lady who had been there for a very long time. I don't even know what she looks like. But I came to the first board meeting in February, and I've been to every one since, except one when my daughter had a rescheduled club soccer game at 7 o'clock that night, and she comes first. I would just like to point out from the district's COVID tracker on May 11th, the date that the governor signed his executive order, there were 26 student active cases and 1 teacher. On June 9th, the last available day that this district has posted any data on that, there were 7 students and 0 teachers. Mask choice was fine. I'm glad that will continue for this coming year. I also just wanted to point out that all 5 of the graduation ceremonies, there were very few masks on students. I counted 2 students with masks at Lexington High School, and there were 435 graduates. Between that and the shots of people in the community that you could see on the YouTube videos, I think it's very clear where this community stands on that issue and how we feel about that. I also want to point out, as far as vaccines, my understanding is this district will be opening our schools up to vaccine clinics. And the World Health Organization, even today, I just pulled this directly from their website, they say children should not be vaccinated for the moment. There is not yet enough evidence on the use of vaccines against COVID-19 in children. Children and adolescents tend to have milder disease compared to adults. And I would be very, very cautious about using our schools for that, because we all know that Molly Spearman plans to use peer pressure, her words, directly her words, peer pressure in her video last week to have particularly student athletes try to get other people to use it. I also want to bring up one final point about our district has a relationship with a place called the Leadership Academy out in New York City. They advocate reframing critical race theory as culturally responsive learning. I think it's very important for the board to know and to think about what that might mean for our students, to think that we should be judged by the pigment of our skin and that makes us oppressors or oppressed people. And I would really ask this board if that's something they want to stand by. Does that fall in line with the Civil Rights Act? And does that fall in line with the 14th Amendment, equal protection and due process? Is that something you're willing to stand behind? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Heim. Now we have Matt Heim, and he would like to address the board on several issues, and he also has a student that attends Lexington High School.
You know, I don't really enjoy this at all. I like being asleep. This isn't something I want to do. But I have to. I have to stand here every week and talk to people who can't respond. It's hard. I don't know if you ever read the Hemingway story, To Have and Have Not. It's basically two stories from different perspectives, and you see how they intersect at different points. And you know, watching this meeting this morning with the budget, it's exactly that. You know, everyone's getting along, it's going great, we're corroborating, everything is happening the way that it should be. And then there's our story, the people sitting here who are trying to understand what's going on and trying to get a better perspective. My wife made a FOIA request just to get some curriculum that Anne Marie Green said that, you know, should happen. It's been stonewalled 3 different ways, and it gets carbon copied to Dr. Little as well as Dr. Talley. It's amazing. And the funny thing about that is I'm not even sure the board knows. And I think it's important for the board to know because the South Carolina FOIA laws specifically say that these determinations must constitute the final opinion of a public body as to the public availability of requested public records. That all reflects on you, you know, and it's really, really hard because we have jobs and lives and other things we want to spend our time doing. I'm up till 2 o'clock last night writing letters and doing things that, frankly, I'd rather not do. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about the walls, and they get built. And I know that you're their bosses as the board, okay? And everybody wants to please their boss. Nobody wants to be that person. But please remember when you were growing up, what it was like seeing something that didn't work out right and wondering, who do I talk to? Who can help me fix this? It's the little grievances where everything falls through the cracks. And I feel like that's what this is. It's little grievances. Courts don't do a very good job dealing with these. And we expect normal people and other things to be able to fix these problems. And that's you. The little grievances, the little things you hear about, that's what we're asking help with. Anyway, another thing too with the FOIA requests is requests have been made, so I've heard that for the budget overages and things like that. And they're hundreds of dollars. I mean, 300, 400, 500, I don't even know. But it's a lot of money. It's real money. And it's for the public good, it seems, because we're trying to understand what happened to all these overages. And what's amazing too is you can FOIA documents from the South Carolina Department of South Carolina Department of Transportation and get requests from our school board to them and communications. And it's revealing what you see, you know, and I just want you to be aware of that. And that's something that I would like to reach out to and ask for help with, because having an ally is very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heim. Next, we have Ms. Catherine Carter Jeffcoat. She wants to address the board about the transportation facility, and her student attends Gilbert Elementary School.
I've gone back and forth with emails between Mr. Salters and I and all of you guys, so I don't want to go over everything they're discussed, but I did find the original transportation facility handout from the MBCon facility plan. It's very clear that it was a very small, modest building. I don't know where the scope disconnect came from. It must have been more of a scope change. I know that's semantics, but I think when you're talking about public funds, public interest, and a public facility, it needs to be more exact onto what happened as to why there is a 3 times amount budget being requested. I also talked to the management of the Bar Road facility to understand the processes and everything like that, and found out that we have 1 district mechanic and 54 district buses. And I brought up the issue of the 4 bays not being industry standard, and found out there's a new schematic a new schematic for the transportation facility since the request for the 6.5 million additional funds. I tried to figure out if there was going to be any reduction in that request and didn't really get a direct answer. And I also asked for an itemized cost, and I'm told it doesn't exist, that until the board gives direction, there will be no GMP amendment to the contract. But I studied up on how I think it's called A133 contracts work, and there should be a GMP proposal. So until the board can be assured that the proposed facility will actually meet the needs of the drivers and the people using this facility by asking the drivers and the people using the facility, you should not approve this budget increase. Until you're confident that the budget will cover the building and the cost of building, then you should not approve this increase. Until you have an itemized proposed budget, which there is none, not one that I know of, you should not approve this increase of budget. Instead of solely relying on your trust, you should be doing the due diligence requiring actual budgets, itemized cost, ensuring that there will not be a budget increase later on due to another scope disconnect or misunderstanding between our administration and our contractors. This is public funds, public money. I don't see how business can be conducted without an itemized cost. So essentially, if you approve this 6.5 increase, you're just handing over millions of public dollars without knowing where it's going, how it's being spent, and that is not doing the due diligence. That is not doing what we elected you to do. So ask the questions, think critically, ask for details. It's not a matter of questioning your administration or micromanaging your administration. It's a matter of doing what you were elected to do. And there should be a professional respect from the administration to the board and vice versa, that you're gonna ask these questions, not as a personal attack, but as doing your job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jeffcoat. Next, we have Ms. Catherine Reynolds. She would like to address the board about the board, and her students attend Gilbert Elementary and Gilbert Middle.
Hello. I'm so excited. First of all, I came in and I finally get to see your guys' faces, you know, and to me that's exciting because I still haven't gotten to know you guys as individuals, and that's very hard for me because, like I said, I started this going to listening to that May 4th meeting, and then I said I really want to get to know who you guys are. I want to understand what position everyone is in, what their roles are. I want to know everyone in this room and who they are. And so to me, just being able to see faces and make connections is awesome. You know, we've obviously tried to email to try to get in contact, you know, to do meetings, and we have done some meetings, and I appreciate those meetings very much because, like I said, what I want you to know is that I'm not some angry, crazy mama bear sitting here screaming and hollering at you about stuff, that my husband's not angry and, you know, some kind of, you know, I don't even know. But I want you guys to know me. I want you to have a relationship with me, and I want to be able to have a relationship with you so that way we can actually be on a page. It doesn't have to be the same page because we will never agree, I'm sure, on everything. And that is fine because that is who we are. But to actually understand and to get to know me, know that I'm, like I said, not some crazy mom just sitting up here screaming. I have feelings. I have faith in my children. I have things that I truly believe. And that is what I want you guys to understand about me. Also, and one thing that I was going to bring up, you guys kept bringing up Lula. My kids were in Lula, all three of mine. And I also did a babysitting where I had 3 more in Lula. And it actually opened up a lot of discussion with my kids, which was actually a good thing. Knowing what kind of curriculum was what in front of them, and that was very interesting to me. And if I do make the decision to put my kids back into school, I will be going to the administration. I will be going to the to the principals, to the teachers. I want to know what they're learning. I will make sure to go through every single part of it and make sure that it goes with our faith. It goes with how we believe and what we, our standards for our family. And I do encourage other parents to do that as well, you know. But you guys are also taking away Lula program for the elementary. So what kind of option is there for the parents that are not comfortable with their kids going back to school? What do you have besides homeschooling and private schools?
Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. Next, we have Rebecca Godfrey. Mrs. Godfrey would like to talk about fall 2021, and her students attend Lexington Middle School and River Bluff.
The fall 2021 opening plan should look just like the fall 2019 opening plan because the pandemic's over. There are unmasked crowds everywhere and no spikes whatsoever. Bring back the packed lunchrooms, drinking fountains, book buddies, hugs, high fives, and capacity crowds this year. Compared to last fall, we now have treatments, cures, vaccines, and we know a lot more about the virus. Unfortunately, $27 million in funding wants the district to keep pushing the pandemic, but I hope you will see through that. Seems like the only people who believe there's still a pandemic is those who are profiting from it. Please do not implement contact tracing or quarantining this next school year. There's no provable positive effect from it, only negative. Contact tracing increased the number of students who were absent, the number of students who suffered from depression, anxiety, anger, feelings of isolation, and eating disorders. If accepting the money forces us to implement contact tracing again, reject the money. Please do not encourage the experimental COVID shot. You should not be weighing in on this at all. Telling students that if they get the shot, they will never be quarantined, miss a sport, miss prom, is called coercion. Informing teachers that they will be back in a mask if the numbers rise and they haven't had the jab is coercion. I was so disappointed to see these in the proposed plan. Even requesting your board members to wear a mask for tonight's meeting if they are unvaccinated undermines their intelligence to choose what's best for their health. These are grown adults, and it's no one's business if they've had the jab or not. Stop giving vaxxed people privileges. The COVID shot is a medical procedure. Any medical procedure requires informed consent. Since you have been advising people to get this shot, have you also given them information for side effects? Have you told students and teachers that there's a chance they will be sterilized, develop blood clots, heart issues, and possibly die? And when a teacher or student ends up having one of these side effects, who deals with it? Not the board, not the superintendent, not Molly Spearman. It's the family. The family has to live with the lifelong consequences, so let the family decide without giving them any pressure. According to the CDC's own data, there is a 12,000% increase in deaths from this COVID vax compared to the other vaccine deaths. Have you informed people of this? Have you told them that the drug companies that are offering this shot have no liability no matter what happens? Have you informed the teachers and students that the clinical trials for these experimental vaccines do not end till 2023 and 2024? And that animal trials were skipped completely. Getting the vaccine is proving to be much more risky than catching and recovering from COVID. Schools should not give medical advice. I'm asking you to stop the vaccine messaging, stop the vaccine webinars, stop the vaccine incentives. Let families and teachers decide on their own what is best for themselves without offering any district opinions, rewards, or penalties. Do not let big money cloud your judgment and steal our freedoms.
Thank you, Mrs. Godfrey. Next, we have Pam Gibbons, and she has students that attend Rocky Creek.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have anything written down. First, I second everything Ms. Gottfried said. Very good. I don't believe that schools, education need to be involved with vaccine clinics. I don't think there needs to be peer pressure from the superintendent. Again, her words. One question, well, not a question. One thing I want to bring up, there was recently an email that came down from Dr. Little that went to all of District 1's teachers that come August, they have to be masked, have a mask on if they're not vaccinated. Again, it's pretty disgusting that you put into your agenda tonight asking everybody pretty much their medical records. It's personal information. And to bring up about the teachers, in the plan, it said only if there was at a certain level of cases rising. But in the email, completely different. And I'm also wondering, since the proviso passed the other day in both houses and is going to the governor's desk, how is that going to be worked out? Proviso 1.108 states no school district or any of its schools may use any funds appropriated pursuant to this act to require that its students or employees wear a face mask at any of its educational facilities. So does this mean that is District 1 not accepting state funding from this point? Will they put these mask requirements back in place after they receive the funding? Again, I think these are a lot of questions that people do want to know. I hope that when people start emailing you, that we do get answers, and I guess that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Next, we have Todd Augsburger. Mr. Augsburger would like to speak about the COVID response, and he has two graduates of Lexington One.
Yeah, good evening. Hi, I'm Todd Augsburger. I work as the president and CEO of Lexington Medical Center. I've lived up the road in Lexington for 21 years. My wife works for the high school. I've had a couple graduates. And I'm here today to thank you, to thank the administration, to thank the board for your leadership and your support and your partnership during this pandemic. It has been dramatically affected every American in so many ways, including everybody in this room, in ways none of us ever knew. And the most challenging thought for me leading a hospital, or for perhaps Dr. Litter, is there's no roadmap. There was no textbook. There was no plan for how we would manage through this. And what we had to do in this community, I'm very proud of it, is we had to rely on each other and work together and lean in to partner and figure out ways we could do the best we could for helping protect our citizens and our community. And again, none of us are perfect. None of us have a textbook on how to do this, but I am very grateful for the partnership and help that I got from Dr. Little, Mr. Salters, many of your board members, as we work through how to best take care of our community, and you're still doing that. So again, that takes leadership, it takes strength, and it takes partnership, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. Throughout that entire process, and continues to this day, the question I got most often from your leadership, from your administration was, how can we best protect our students and our teachers and our staff and our faculty? Not, what do I have to do? What would somebody else tell us to do? But what guidance can you give us to help keep our citizens safe? And again, I think that's been first and foremost in all of your minds. And again, this has not been easy, but I appreciate the focus on safety and community. And we're not through this, contrary to popular opinion. We're working through it, and we're getting better, but there's still work for us all to do. And we have to keep working together. We have to keep focusing on our ultimate goal of helping keeping each other safe. Now, I know, again, that there have been some folks who have been critical of your efforts, and I understand the frustration people have with this difficult time we've been through. But I'd like us all to focus on the volunteerism that sits in front of us and the hard work of the paid staff who have put their time and energy in this community to volunteer their time, particularly our board, and take difficult decisions on how best to take care of our friends and family in our community. And I applaud you for doing that. I know you don't get paid for this job. I know often you work many, many hard hours, but it's terribly important. Not only the pandemic response, but our community grows in great part due to the success of our school district. Our businesses grow, more people choose to live in our community because of our school district. And that goes in great part, again, to your volunteerism and the excellent leadership you've chosen on your administrative team. Couldn't be prouder of y'all. Want to thank you for your time. I don't know how often people come and say thank you. Not as often as I would like at the hospital either, but I want to thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Augsburger. And last, we have Representative R.J. May. He is a member of our Lexington County Legislative Delegation, and he is going to speak about the General Assembly provisos.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. I appreciate you allowing me to be here. First and foremost, I don't think I've met everybody, but I hope to meet you after the meeting. I've brought a copy of the 2021 Legislative Manual for all of you, staff included, if you'd like to pick one up. the biographies about the legislators are kind of boring, but in the back, we do have great stuff about the state dog, the state insect, and so forth. So I'd encourage you to pick one up. But I would only take a minute here to bring forth some concerns from my constituents who wish to remain anonymous because of fear of retribution and reprisal about how they feel, both teachers and students, along with parents. They have brought their concerns that those who choose not to wear a mask, again, both students and teachers, have felt ostracized, have felt punished in ways, and I want you to be aware of that. And because of that, the legislature has moved forward with a proviso, as I'm sure you're well aware, and is pending the governor's signature, that mandatory masks in K-12 are prohibited for students, teachers, and staffs for the upcoming budget year. Another concern among my constituents is critical race theory, or any of the other things you would like to call it. I'd also like you to be aware that for the upcoming fiscal year, critical race theory is prohibited in K-12 education based on provisos, again, pending the governor's signature. But I look forward to working with you on codifying some of this into law when we come back into January to ensure that our students, teachers, and staffs who choose to not get vaccines and who choose to not wear masks are respected and included in activities that they have been and should be in the future. Again, thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board, and staff, and I'll leave some legislative manuals in the back, and I hope you pick one up. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative May. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak? No? All right. I do not have one more.
Oh, he's just listening. Sorry, Mr. Evans.
I know, Barry. I wasn't going to let him talk anyway.